Testing, testing. Can you guys hear me now? Okay. Free love music. Is that a thumbs up? Let me know when we got sound. Testing, testing. Can you guys hear me? No audio on YouTube? It says it's on now, so let me know. Okay. Dr. Lee said yes. Okay. D Nice One said yes. Okay, I'm getting thumbs up. Okay. Let me turn my ringer off so I don't get distracted. What's going on, family? How y'all doing? What's good? Peace and love. Today is Friday, May 13th, 2022. I pray that this message reaches you all in the best of health, spirit, and mind. I am doing very well. Thank you very much. Sending you all best wishes, love, positive energy, healing, abundance, all that good stuff, as well as balance and firepower. And, we staying sucker free 2022 beyond. So we're going to make sure we keep it righteous. So welcome to friends and foes alike. I know that this conversation is going to bring a lot of people into the ZaZaAli realm that may not necessarily be familiar with who I am and what I do. Welcome to the party. Peace, Roy. How you doing? Thank you so much. And shout out to my beautiful sister who is my admin. I would say her name, but the ops might be watching, so we gonna keep it copacetic. But much love. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this Friday evening. It is approximately 5:39 on the West Coast. That means it's about 8:30 on the East Coast. And I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to have this conversation. I'm very excited to be a woman. I am so happy to be a woman right now. And this is going to be a very needed conversation that is going to spark some conversations and some frequencies and some intentions and some ripple effects and all of that good stuff. And I'm fine with that. Just be advised that I don't watch any video responses. I don't look at anything outside of my world online on social media, because it's a dangerous place. Dangerous, not like I am afraid that somebody is going to do something to me or could possibly, minimize my value or my platform, but dangerous because the evil and the ignorance is lurking everywhere. It is astounding to me how much energy has been put into this particular topic that we're going to talk about over the last couple of weeks. And there's argument about the value of Mr. Kevin Samuel's life and whether he was a benefit or a detriment to the culture. What we're going to do today is we're going to let Mr. Samuel speak for himself. Okay? So we're going to listen to some of his infamous clips, and then we're going to come back and address all of the fanfare that has happened in between, including the fact that this man is now being made into a saint. I beg your pardon. Now, I tried to wait, let a little bit of time pass. I have my frequencies going in the background, by the way, to keep me centered. 639 hertz. So if I veer too far off the rails, I went to the beach today and had a conversation with Mother Nature and got the approval from the Creator and the powerful women and queens and ancestral lineage and goddesses and empresses and priestesses. I went and had a talk with the beach today and sat by the water and made sure that the frequency of our planet was going to back me up with what I'm going to say today. And I got the thumbs up. So we're good to go. But this is 639 hertz that I have in the background. And I really play these frequencies in the background to keep me centered. Because Lord knows, in talking about the primal level, primal meaning basic, meaning, you know, uh, 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 before evolution, right? That aspect of yourself that is your lowest nature, right? Your, fight or flight, right? Um, I just want to eat, drink, and be merry, right? That's primal mindset. A lot of y'all live like that, but we'll get to that later. But I want to make sure that I stay centered and I stay grounded because, when you do, this is why I don't really like talking about the male-female dichotomy. I've said that before and then I end up talking about it, right? And I wrote a book about it, so there's that. But it's because the level of consciousness and awareness of the average person in this time frame is so minuscule. It's almost like I gotta put on my kindergarten teacher hat to come in these spaces and have conversations. And I'm going to show you why shortly. If I see Kevin Samuels never disrespected black women one more time, my head is going to explode. And please, if you say that, you might want to hold your comments in the chat room. We're going to let Mr. Samuels speak for himself. Okay? And then we're going to have a conversation thereafter about the fallout, right? You guys know that I am a adamant lover of history. History is my, what made me fall in love with knowledge and with seeking knowledge and with, it was my segue, so to speak, to consciousness. And so what we're not going to do, out of respect for history, much love, Jules, I appreciate you. No, I have not heard of Kevin Hick. What we're not going to do is change history. What we're not going to do is rewrite history, especially when all of the information is readily available for you to verify the truth. So the fact that I'm seeing so many people gather around this, and I, let me say this first, right? The reason that I didn't talk I haven't talked about this, and it's weird because who would be talking about this anyway? The man's not even buried yet, right? As far as I know. We as a culture do not respect the death process. We have nothing is sacred to us anymore, right? So yes, I saw the foolish women online talking about hexes and, celebrating this man's death and things like that. That's you know what I'm saying? That's bottom feeder energy to me, male or female, right? So those same women who are operating from their base nature, cheering and, clapping and being happy that this man, has transitioned, they're on the same frequency as a lot of the cheerleaders that have all of a sudden appeared now and are trying to paint this man as a saint, right? So I'm not, I'm neutral when it comes to the gender aspect of this. Well, no, I'm not. But in terms of the he said, she said, and all of that stuff, like, you guys are on the same frequency. So I wish, those females with that lack-based, low vibrational energy and frequency should get with those males with that lack-based, mediocre, rudimentary frequency, mindset, energy. You guys should get together and mate and, build a world together on another planet. Not on this planet, because you're on your way out anyway. It's just a matter of time. Men who are not in alignment with their divine feminine self, and women who are out of alignment with their divine feminine self, or leaning too much towards the masculine self, your time is up. I mean, not up. It's not up yet, clearly, but it's limited. And when I say that, I'm not talking about, you being wiped off physically, so to speak, even though, Lord knows that's a goal of a bigger agenda that we will touch on a little bit today, but I have to be careful because I'm being heavily censored, right? But you're either going to grow and expand, or you're going to become non-relevant. And a lot of you guys are already non-relevant, just only in your small circles, right? So we have cliques of ignorant, low vibrational women online that have gathered together and rallied the troops, and they're all tethered by lack-based consciousness and dysfunction and trauma. And then we have a group of grade C males who have strong platforms, because, we'll get into that in just a second, who have all gathered together and rallied with their, grade C, grade D sometimes, fake masculine, anti-toxic masculinity. They are the premises of toxic masculinity. But we have all these little subsets, right, that are kind of banding together now and creating these fake revolutions and these fake conversations about consciousness and these fake conversations about the male-female dichotomy and these fake conversations about what black men are or aren't, and all these fake conversations about what black women are or are not, right? So we're gonna get into all of those things. I don't want to hold you guys for too long. I'm gonna try not to talk for more than 2 hours. And I only say 2 hours because I'm gonna show some videos of Kevin himself. We're gonna let him speak for himself, right? Because like I said, what we're not gonna do is change history. Not when we have all of the information readily available, right? So we're going to listen to him, and then I'm going to give my feedback on what he has to say, as well as all of you male and female groupies. Where are you getting at, ZaZa? No, tell me what. I'm about to tell you what I'm getting at. I've been talking for 10 minutes. Relax. And I've said what I'm getting at. Will you pardon me. I'm writing a note to myself. Something I want to make sure that I read. So we're going to discuss all of that, right? Let me just say, this is what I was saying about the respect for the deceased, right? There's a time and a place to speak, and there's a time and a place to be quiet, right? And in the social media world, because everybody wants to be the first one to say it, everybody wants to be the first one to have the exclusive, everybody's looking for likes, right? None of that matters. Even the people who are defending Kevin Samuels, y'all don't even have no respect. Because first of all, a lot of y'all are lying, which if you want to honor the man, at least be truthful. So you come out swinging on day 1 or day 2, when this man is clearly, going through this. My understanding of the spiritual realm and the death process is that when this body transitions from the physical realm, that there is an amount of time where the soul is in transition, right? So when the soul is in transition between the physical realm and the ethers, it's a time to sit back and just kind of be quiet and reflect, right? So the fact that all this hoopla started the day of, the day after, the celebration, it just speaks to how savage our culture has become. Y'all don't respect nothing. Even the people who have been defending him, y'all don't respect nothing. The grieving process at all. But we'll be quick to refer somebody to a documentary about African history or a history book when you're not even walking in the steps of those ancestors. Let me read this comment real quick. Thornton, how much of Kevin Samuels' content have you gone through? I don't think clips tell the whole story, just the worst part of it or what you would like people to see. Exactly. This is my show. So I'm going to show you what I want you to see. And if you want to show people what you want them to see, I'm sure you have a platform. You obviously have a page. You know, we know what you can do in order to make that happen, right? But the point about it is, and this is, I'm glad you said that, because that's going to be a perfect segue. Because there are certain things that you can say if you have a platform and you have a large following and you have an influence, that there is no get back. I don't need to listen to all of Kevin Samuels' content. I've heard enough. And the things that I'm going to show you, you tell me, can you defend it? And if you can defend it, unfollow me immediately. You go search through the haystack for a needle. You go listen to all of that shit and try to find some jewels. That's basic common sense to me. Women should be married. Duh. Women should be taking care of themselves and taking care of their children and prioritizing their children and, you know, practicing it. Duh. All of the stuff that y'all sitting around making all this. Somebody said he was a prophet today. I beg your pardon. He didn't say nothing that 1,000 other men haven't said. He just was more disrespectful to it. And a lot of y'all with it. And a lot of y'all don't like women. That's what you really liked in him. You either don't like women. Some of y'all I'm starting to think are psychologically gay. And I only say psychologically because, you know, I don't want to imply anything about your sexuality. Or don't like women, psychologically gay, or you subconsciously think women are superior to you. Or all three. We're going to get into all of that. But my point is, what was your name, sir? Let me make sure I got it right. Now you're going to be a focal. You're going to be somebody I'm going to be referring to. Thank you so much for that comment. Thornton. The point is, look at the fallout as a result of his passing. What has it brought forward? Chaos, drama, hatred, low vibrational energy, arguments. So I don't need to go and listen to all of the content. It's crystal clear to me the overall position and what he put out into the ethers. You understand me? So I know a lot of you guys don't like women. It's becoming abundantly clear to me, which is even more perplexing as to why you would even be watching me. The funny style slick comments in the chat room, I'm with it today. I'm with it today. So if you want to see that side of me, and if you want me to address you directly, then say some slick shit in the comments. And if I see it, I am going to address it. Because listen, your mindset, your way of thinking, your way of operating in the world as a man, a grade C, grade D, grade E, I don't know, jury's still out. I'm not talking to the kings that are listening to me, because I have kings that listen to my content. I do. I'm not talking to the kings. Y'all bear with me, because I gotta, you know, things just have to be said, and unfortunately, I tend to be the one that have to say it, or at least from my vantage point. So, you want to say something slick in my comments, then just be ready for the, you know, don't poke the bear. So, you know, so you disagree. Don't be smart, you know. The proof is in the pudding. Look at what it's created. Look at the argument. Look at the arguing. Look at the position. Look at the posturing. Look at the grandstanding. Look at the lies. Look at the bullshit. Look at the drama. It's like all of the... I want to try to use nice language. I don't want to curse too much today, but it's like somebody put the bat signal out for the weak men to take a stand. Yes, by the way, weak men do trigger me. I've told you guys that. But weak men trigger me, yes. But weak women trigger me as well. This is why it's hard to watch the chat room and then at the same time see, you know what I'm saying? It's distracting. So weak men trigger me, yes. Weak men trigger me, weak women trigger me. And then weak men and weak women have children and reproduce their weakness. I need it to stop. It's not gender exclusive. Women need to be married and having children. No, I don't think all women should have children. I don't think all men should have children. How do we know? How many single parent homes do we have in our culture? Should those men have had children? No. Oh, is that the woman's fault too? Okay, we're going to get into that. So what we're going to do, we've given enough time. We've let enough time pass. I'm going to show you the videos that I selected because it's my page. Oh, Shamu, thank you for coming in. You made me remember your comment. Let me read this comment real quick because what we're not going to do is play this feminist game. I'm not a feminist. I'm an alchemist. But let me just read this comment real quick because what y'all like to do is pigeonhole women. Pigeonhole women and limit women defending themselves or standing up for themselves with feminism. If unmarried women shouldn't have children, then unmarried men shouldn't have children. Bottom line. So let's just read this comment real quick. Let's get something out the way. But we have an understanding. This was on my Frequency Wars Part 3 video. I'm assuming that somebody sent the call out, you know, ZaZa's putting out a video against men. Rally the troops. Yeah, that's you. Is this Shamu? Yeah, that's you. So let's read your comment. This is on my Frequency Wars Part 3. ZaZa has joined the feminist movement. She's gaslighting black men on the sneak tip. No accountability for black women. Victimhood and the black man is at fault. This is why I say when I come on these broadcasts, I be feeling like I need to put on my kindergartner hat. Where's my ruler? Because what are you talking about? Y'all just be saying shit just to get my attention. There's absolutely no merit. There's nothing to back that up. Not only is there nothing to back that up, but in my book, my second book, I have a whole chapter about feminism. I have a whole chapter in this book about feminism where I talk about the white women who started the feminist movement and how they played on the vulnerability and the ignorance of the women at that time and how feminism was the gateway to, you know, taking the man out of the household and voters' right and all that bullshit that y'all actually think means something now and it doesn't really mean anything. Chat room. I was trying to read something, but the chat room was moving too fast. So I beg your pardon. I have a son. My son is 18 years old. My loyalty is to him before it's to any of y'all. My son is more important to me than women's rights, than womanhood, than sisterhood. I love all of y'all women, but I can assure you, if I haven't raised a king, none of my work means anything. So stop playing with me And stop trying to play games with me because I hold men accountable and because I say the things that make you feel uncomfortable. For everybody else that's watching that may not be familiar with what I do, welcome to the club. I don't do feminism. That shit is beneath me. I could never be a part of any organization or any movement or any agenda that does not include men because I have a son. And my son is more valuable and more precious to me than anything that we're talking about. All of this could go up in flames. As long as my son is good, I'm good. So miss me with the feminism. That's all y'all can say. And why is it that women who defend other women are automatically pigeonholed as feminists? Why is a woman who's defending other women not necessarily your enemy? Because a lot of y'all don't like women. And some of y'all are psychologically gay. And some of y'all think that women are superior to you. And that's what the real beef is in the bigger scheme of things. And if you think that, then just say it. It's, that's a good place to start for me. If you think women are superior and that's why you really don't like them, because they can give birth or because they can have multiple orgasms or whatever, then just say that. Let's start there. And if you don't like women, you don't have to say it out loud, but, just be honest with yourself. I've never liked the species. Say that to yourself. I don't like women. That's why I spend so much time watching content of men who don't like women. I'll never understand it. I talk about, weak men trigger me, and I get I get in you guys' chests with love, of course, sometimes, but please understand, a world of only women, I would not survive. I've always been a dude's girl, so I've always, kind of like rocked with men, and I, was a tomboy, and I've always been athletic and love sports, and I ain't never been no social butterfly, having hella female friends. Like, I've just always been a dude's girl, right? So, I've never been on that rah, 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 women power. I haven't. I'm still not, because, I'm God power, God frequency, God consciousness, love, light, right? I can't imagine being only surrounded by women. So I love men. As a species, the best part of you. But I don't like weak men. And weak men do trigger me. Especially when a lot of y'all sit around all day and talk about men. What men being the protectors and provide. Okay, well, get off of social media and get off of YouTube and go protect and provide. Please. Thank you very much. I can end the video now. Conversation over. It's not true. People who said should watch ZaZa versus Cynthia G. What does that mean? I talk about metaphysics. I talk about love. I talk about power of the mind and frequency and vibrations and God and protons and nucleus and atoms and building blocks of the universe and spiritual awareness and consciousness and pulling people up out of the mud and out of the grave. I don't even know why you mentioned my name. I don't even know why my name gets mentioned in certain circles, because I have to every now and then do these conversations, right? But please understand, I'm a 6-time self-published author. I only talked about this subject in one book. All of my other books are about science and data and knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So put some respect on my name and watch who you say my name next to. I don't be involved in all of that bullshit and that rah-rah. ZaZa means belonging to all in Hebrew. Ali means the exalted of God. Stop playing with me. This is why. What? Anyway, anywho, going back to wherever I was, I never really took Kevin Samuels. I had, seen some of his content. You never see me do a video about him. There's plenty of people that were women used to send me his stuff all the time and be like, please talk about this, that. I've mentioned him in passing, but I honestly looked at Kevin Samuels as a caricature. I never thought that people were actually like, is it entertaining? Yes, he was funny. You know what I'm saying? Charming to some, right? But I never looked at him as like a real beacon of what? Knowledge, wisdom, understanding, or how to improve your, I don't know. I never quite honestly, when I looked at his page after his passing and saw how many followers he had, I was like, oh, okay. In one respect, that means something, and in another respect, that means nothing, right? Because 85% of the people are deaf, dumb, and blind. So usually the people that are kicking up the most dust and talking the most nonsense and having the most fights and keeping up the most beef and constantly talking about other people's business, be it celebrities, the energy vampires of the world who need a host. You need somebody else to talk about. Who do I talk about on my platforms? God. And occasionally this, right? God and you. But if 85% of the people are deaf, dumb, and blind, and 10% are the bloodsuckers of the poor, and the 5% of the 5% are the true righteous, poor righteous teachers, not 5%, 5% of the 5%. The rest of that 5% is straddling the fence. They got the information, but have not been able to apply it to themselves in their lives. So they quote videos and books, but still haven't learned how to manifest that God frequency and God consciousness in their own lives, right? So I didn't really I never looked at it like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't. It was like a caricature kind of thing. Oh, he's, promoting his business, doing what he does. Okay, cool. Okay, stupid women. Stupid is not a nice word, but ignorant is too advanced. I don't know what word to use. I don't like dumb. Stupid is, it sounds harsh. It sounds, middle schoolish. But I don't have another appropriate word. So, if we come up with something cool, until then, that's where we are. Much love for the super chat. I appreciate you. I had a phase where I was angry at women, and that anger forced me to learn the ways of women, taught me how to hunt, how to lead, and how to be still. That's what I'm talking about. I respect that. That's all we ask for. In whatever stage your development is. I deal with and interact with a lot of men from around the world. So I'm not just sitting around talking about something I don't know about. And we're going to get into that in a minute. But let me get back to where I'm going. The people get the leaders they deserve. So the fact that a caricature of some sorts who was saying some things that, yes, need to be said. Women should be married. Duh. Men should be married too. Women should be careful about who they're giving their bodies to and having children by. Duh. Men should too. Right? So I didn't really I don't know. I guess I misinterpreted. I underestimated. Because you guys are not tethered to the wisdom, because I didn't hear any wisdom. And I spent the last day listening to Kevin Samuels' content. Not just what I'm going to show you today. I put myself in the belly of the beast. I subjected my mind and my spirit to this fuckery for about 4 hours yesterday. Okay? Now my question for you, Thornton, is have you watched the videos that I'm going to show you in just a second? Because if you have, you're bordering, you could be an enemy to women. And if you're an enemy to women, you got dark days ahead of you, pal. I don't know what to say. So, Oh, let me just say this before I get into, I'm going to play the videos real quick, but let me just say this, because there's an announcement that needs to be made, and this is why, how unprepared we are as a culture, and how, sometimes I get upset that I even have to talk about this stuff, because where I really want to talk about is what's really going on in the world, and preparing people for how these devils are turning up on us and on our planet, which is what I've been talking about for the past 10 years, by the way. Remember that shit when you say my name next to somebody else's. Genetically modified food, Kim, and then Trails, that shit they're putting in people's arms, organ trafficking, crack cocaine. Yeah, I was talking about that 10 years ago, and I wrote a book about it. So miss me with that shit of trying to identify me with women that you think are anti-male or hate men or feminists. Don't play with me. But I don't know how many of you guys know. I'm going to see if I can read this. Much love, Meadow. I appreciate you for the Cash App. On May 22nd through May 28th, 2022, ultimate control over America's healthcare system, and hence its national sovereignty, will be delivered for a vote to the World HEALTH, and I'm spelling because the algorithm is on my back heavy. So saying certain names and saying certain words will get this video blocked, and we don't want to do that. So I'm being strategic in how I speak. The World HEALTH organization's governing legislative body, the World Health Assembly. The threat is contained in new amendments to the international health regulations proposed by the Biden administration that are scheduled as provisional agenda item 16.2 at the upcoming conference May 22nd to May 28th. Now let me just summarize this, right? Because you guys are steeped in the fuckery. You guys are online fighting amongst yourselves and looking for you looking for a war so you don't have to fight the real war. You looking for a distraction to keep you busy so you don't have to deal with yourself. Y'all create wars with women so you don't have to fight the ultimate war. Not the white man. He's running a close second though. Yourself. Right? So basically, a governing body of governments, devils, but governments, are getting together basically to vote on it's not a bill, a legislative element, so that group, that organization that I mentioned, can take over and supersede all world governments. Biden is not running the country right now. Neither is Kamala. With his half-dead ass, and with her, she ain't half dead, but Lord have mercy. I don't know, she was... Are they like zapping her brain before she takes the mic? I don't know. I still haven't figured it out. But she's not impressive to me at all. At all. So all of this is what's happening in the background. This is all percolating and matriculating in the background while black people are online arguing about shit that doesn't mean anything to anybody. The real stuff is what y'all not talking about. Marching and rallying for abortion rights while a mass sterilization campaign is taking place. How do you know that? I wrote a book about it. I did a 7-hour presentation called Science as a Weapon. It's on my website right now. You can watch it for free. So if you don't understand, and hopefully your prophet, maybe I don't know. I heard that he took the poison in his arm. Hasn't been, is that speculation? I don't know. But, let's keep that in context, because I'm seeing a lot of women talking about, some woman put a hex on him, right? Some priestess. put some herbs in a pot and stirred up a recipe and took him off the set. Well, that's a waste of power. Why are you going for the baby demons? If you have the power to take somebody off the set, Karma could have handled that shit. Do you know what the number of miscarriages was in 2021? Of course you don't know. You too busy wrapped up in this shit. There's a war on the womb of women. Much love for the super chat, Chris. There's a war on the womb of women. There's a war on the womb of 5 to 11-year-olds. 5 to 16, 12 to 16. All those age groups. All those little girls having to get poison put in their bodies for the sake of going to school. So if you want to put some voodoo or a hoodoo hex on somebody, I think you need to aim a little bit higher. That was, like I said, I never even took all of that seriously. Those people cancel themselves out to me. Let the dead bury the dead. And I'm not talking about Kevin Samuels being dead, right? We'll make sure that I am careful in how I'm carrying myself, because I respect the spiritual realm. The Kevin Samuels that you guys know and love no longer exists in the physical dimension. And I can assure you he's not in the ethers trying to persuade men to join his bandwagon to rally against all of the hood rats and the thoughts. Your concept and notion of who he was and what he was doesn't even exist anymore in the spiritual realm. You think God's gonna allow that shit in the kingdom of God? Stop it. If you think that, you'll never make it. I'm being facetious because I don't believe in, hell in terms of your body's going somewhere to burn, and you know what I'm saying? There's context for that, but I've talked about all that stuff in my past videos and I want to stay on point. So if you're going to put a hex or a voodoo spell on somebody, I got a name of about 10 people that's at the top of the pyramid that own and control all the wealth in the world, that have propagated and implement the largest psychological warfare and manipulation tactic and lies and scheming and death and murder and destroying jobs, destroying lives, but especially what they're doing to these children. So if you actually have the power to take somebody off the set, and this is what you chose to do with your power, I have questions. You're not paying attention, clearly. Karma could have handled that shit. And trust me when I say I understand the power of the ritual and the science of the spiritual realm and what we have the potential and the power to do. As priestesses, as magicians, as priests, as oracles, as shamans, right? So let's be clear. I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm saying you need to utilize your infrastructure and your power a little bit better than that. Y'all are not paying attention. And the space that I'm existing in gets smaller and smaller and smaller by day. Because I can assure you, I don't care if your name is Ali, Muhammad, Shabazz, whatever the righteous names that we have in all of these different organizations and religions and cultures. If this is what you're backing, ladies, these men cannot be depended on. When we start looking towards men and kings, not men, kings, we will only be looking to kings for guidance. And I say that shit emphatically. You can't lead me nowhere if that's your hero. You tell me where to get a cup of coffee and get out of my move around. So I didn't want to believe Michiech because I loved you back in the day. You was sharp in standing up for the black community. This new platform you standing on is just not me. Then kick rocks. The fuck out of here. Get off my page. Remove yourself. Poof, be gone. Move around. You don't need to stay and write a Dear John letter. Nobody's gonna miss you. Kick rocks. It'll give you a second to exit out of the video, so you don't need to leave another comment. Smart ass. Move around. Did you exit out? Okay, good. Let me read this message that I got from a sister, which was one of the reasons why, because, you know, I try to steer clear of a lot of this because we're just not emotionally mature enough to be having certain types of conversations, right? So I had to really dig deep to make myself sit down and write this and do this video because I have to deal with shit like that. If I did a video and I talked about the power of the mind, if the topic on this video was the power of the mind frequency or loving yourself or elevating your consciousness to become your highest and best self, that person wouldn't have even been here. This is what I talk about a frequency and alignment. Y'all talking about unity. I'm not uniting with that type of shit. Just somebody handle that. The ancestors, elders, the ethers, the star gods, the prophets, somebody get that shit away from me. But if I had did a video and I was talking about the power of the mind or something that I really want to talk about, you never would have showed up. I don't want to unite. I want alignment. A lot of y'all I want off my planet, just to be honest. Let me read this sister's message. She's watching. Thank you for sending this to me. She says, hello, Sister ZaZa. Our sisters are hurting right now. She sent this to me last week. So I read the message and then kind of sat with it like, oh, I don't really want to, you know what I'm saying? I don't really feel like getting in the mud. Because it's not just this video. This is the part y'all don't see. It's all of the comments. It's the DMs. It's the emails with the dick pics and all the weird stuff. I don't want to deal with this, right? This is why y'all should be supporting me. Because, listen, it takes a lot. Our sisters are hurting right now. I am seeing the waves of audible pain all over the web. Kevin Samuels has left a thick, putrid, evil wave of energy amongst our brothers and sisters. While I don't want to give attention in any way to that man's foul legacy, I do think it's important to help our sisters refocus that energy into a better place. You're right. I respect your voice in our community and was wondering if you had already spoken on this topic. I have decided to stop reading the comment section of anything related to him because I become especially grieved. I'm an empath. I hope this message finds you whole and well. Now, this is the point. Thank you so much for writing me this beautiful, eloquent message. What y'all don't realize, you know, all the grade C males that are present, the one that just got checked off, the ones that are lurking in the shadows, the ones that are going to watch, you know, have a group meeting in the barber shop and sit down and listen to me talk and take notes on talking points where you can make your video responses, which I will never see, by the way. You don't realize how disrespectful or detrimental or damaging your behavior of supporting someone that has affected so many women is, right? There's a lot of black women that have been molested. There's a lot of them watching right now. There's a lot of women that are still dealing with grievances and traumas from not having their fathers in their lives or from dysfunctional relationships with fathers in their lives. There's women that have been victims of domestic violence, right? By you supporting this man and this message, you are reiterating to these women who are dealing with trauma and a lot of chaos in their lives, that whatever happens, you're not going to be supporting them. So you're triggering them when you share these posts. And you're triggering them when you call this man a prophet. And you're triggering them when you put up posts and say Kevin Samuels has never disrespected black men. He was 100% right and exact. You're triggering these women who, for all intents and purposes, even if they're not in a direct position of trying to heal, obviously, the last thing they need is for somebody to be constantly coming online and spitting in their faces and throwing their trauma and their pain back in their faces. And again, we live in a climate and a culture where a lot of y'all don't like women. A lot of y'all women don't like women. Thank you very much, Chris. A lot of women don't like women. Ooh, weird shit. Psychological lesbians sitting around and meditating with crystals and yoni eggs, hugging and loving and doing whatever you're doing with one another as you have your seances talking about how disrespectful or how weak black men are. Same thing. You're all the same to me. Go cohabitate on another planet. Just leave ours. Much love, Queen. So I've gotten messages like this from this sister who, she didn't say, she didn't come with disrespect. She wasn't, you know what I'm saying? All the women that you guys don't like, long weave, right? I'm quoting you. Welfare queens, right? The caricature that you've created, because this is a man's world, remember. Let me write that down so I don't forget to go in on my topic. As Kevin Samuel so eloquently said, we built this world. Yeah, you did. And this world took you out. When I say this world took you out, I'm saying that not to celebrate his death. Let me say that in a better way, because I don't like the way that sounded. And I have, have to be careful because I have standards for myself. And what I'm not going to do is act like the rest of y'all airhead bimbos online, just talking and saying things so you can be seen and heard, right? So, this is a man's world. Did he take the needle? I don't know. Y'all talking about somebody put a hex on him. I need to confirm that first. Because for all intents and purposes, it could have been his own doing. And lo and behold, a lot of people are dying. I know you guys aren't paying attention because it doesn't affect you directly. But trust me when I tell you, a lot of people are dying. And if you have that poison in your body, you have significantly increased the chances of you becoming in that number. Or at least, y'all rallying around abortion rights when the whole sterilization agenda is staring you right in the face. Damn fools you are. Appreciate you, Art Taken for Granted. So I don't know. It's his personal business, but that's the first question I have right now with everything. Even the suicides. Listen, they have frequencies now that can beam a thought into your head. And if you don't have a strong mind, you're taking yourself off the set and don't even really understand why. A lot of young people are committing suicide. Yes, they have frequencies that can tap into a brainwave frequency or the frequency of your DNA. If you took that test, they have your DNA. Collection, data collection, output, input. I'm not going to go too far into this because I know how to, we just here for the show. We don't want to do too much truth. So, the sister reached out to me. I've had a number of other women reached out to me, as well as men who, bless their heart. They apparently don't know me too well. Sister ZaZa, could you please talk about how black women are disrespecting the legacy of Kevin Samuels, even though I don't agree with everything that he said? They're celebrating his death and da-da-da-da-da. Why would I ever defend someone who made themselves an enemy to women? It's never going to happen. Just like I'm never going to defend these Grubhub ass females online talking about building platforms based on hating black men. No, I have a son. If you're an enemy to my son, then please, you stay out of my lane. I'm an equal opportunist when it comes to holding men and women accountable. Always have been. That's why this whole notion about me being a feminist is just laughable. Shut up. You don't want somebody to hold you accountable, then don't listen to my content. We have created. How do we know? Look at how many people tucked their tails between their legs and went for this bullshit. You talk about a high value men. The men that y'all consider high value, the ones who have money, because that's really what it's all about, right? Finances. Your money is what makes you consider. How many cowards have we seen? And I want to be nice. Let me. The ones with the most money have the least heart, apparently. You got everything. You have all the money. Your family's family is set. Your children for generations to come are set. I'm talking about high value black men. How many of these high value black men have we seen come forward and actually speak truth to power? Besides Kyrie Irving. I'll wait. Those are your high value men, right? Name one besides Kyrie Irving. Entertainer, celebrity, Fortune 500 business owner. I don't know. You tell me. You're high value men. I've dated professional athletes before. And I'm not bragging about that because it's not a brag. It's just a fact. Fun? Sure. Mentally powerful? Not so much. Much love, blessed and unbothered. Mentally astute? Not really. Powerful? No. So I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't, this whole conversation based on, and please understand, this is a man's world, right? This is so disrespectful to men to somehow give you this false sense of entitlement or this false sense of hope. Once I'm a millionaire, I can, go bag me a Amber Rose. I mean, how stupid, how low is the bar? Y'all be picking for that low-hanging fruit and then turning around and making videos because you got it. Much love, Show Lighthouse. I appreciate you. Creating a whole conversation so that women can prep themselves to attract a high-value man, a fool with money. Kyrie is a one in life. He might have lost in the playoffs, but he won in life. He's a king of mortal men in my eyes at this stage. A king in the midst of mortal men. He's transcending into a whole nother realm at this point. So this is a man's world. So the stripper culture, men created that shit. These low vibrating, gyrating, ground hugging, ground humping, ass in the camera, I'll do anything for attention, OnlyFans, bootylicious. Men created that shit. Women just followed suit. Women did not create prostitution. Please understand. You say it's the oldest profession in the world. Would it be a profession if there were no customers? I don't know. Speaking of abortion, why this is on my head, why this thought is on my head, because I'm seeing a lot of the whole subject of abortion is about women, right? Women's rights, women's choice. But let's be clear. If we could take a look at all of the men who have skeletons buried in Planned Parenthood's backyard, I don't know, what would that mirror look like? Because, a woman has one or two or three or five or however many. I talked about that in the scientific intervention in our affairs, how young women are using abortion as a method of birth control. So with all due respect, I've been on my square. I've been talking about this shit. So she may have whatever her number is, whatever she's done in her life. But a man can have 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 women that have gone to the clinic. Here, take this money and go handle that. What if we could see the number of skeletons that you have buried in the abortion backyard? Because all those, a lot of those, yeah, some women go and do it without your permission. You wanted the baby and she kept it. I'm willing to bet that that number is nowhere near the number of men that was like, hey, my wife's at home. You got to handle that. How much is it? Do you have insurance? All right, here's, I don't know, what's the going rate? So, this unfair analysis of how you guys hold women accountable and just let all of these men just float off into the fuckery wilderness of lack of accountability. We have no real accountability in our culture for men. None. So, the high value man, my ass. Let's let the men hear. Let's hear what he has to say himself. Let me bring the screen up. Let me see. I have a couple of videos that are queued up. Bounce, Ultraman. This is male bashing. Peace. How'd you get here in the first place? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 videos. So let me pull up my screen real quick. And by the way, you don't need to write a Dear John letter. You guys couldn't hear that? No sound. Okay, well then let me just, because he was saying he's never, I don't know why that wouldn't play. Let me see. No sound on the Kevin Samuels video. Let me see. Maybe if I bring it. Oh, wait. Try this again. Well, I'm going to say this because I'll work on the sound on the next video. That was actually a shorter clip than what I thought it was. He said, and I quote, can you guys hear me okay? Okay, you hear me. Okay. He said he's never seen or known about a woman being physically abused. Never in all of his years when he was growing up, his mother's friend was physically abused. I think he said as a child, but he's never known about women being physically abused, and he's never seen a black woman being physically abused. And the emotional abuse comes by way of black women and not black men. So, can you guys hear me okay? I'm not going to play that one. I'm going to play another one. And I think that should work. Okay, you can hear me. So, that's the gist of that particular video. I have another couple to play, so I'm going to work on the sound when I play those, right? Now, I'm going to read something from my Keys to Womanhood workbook. I have a section that's titled Emotional Abuse. This is a quote from Ra'u Nefer Amen. He said, a study of nature will show that throughout the mammalian species, the male is the dominant figure in society. The reason is twofold. In the animal world, because of the absence of intellectual, moral, and spiritual faculties, physical force is the only way of establishing and maintaining law and order in the group. Now, man inherits this instinct from the animal structures in the spirit or brain. It is intended to serve the same function in man's social life until he or she succeeds in evolving the intellectual, moral, and spiritual abilities, which are the true faculties for mediating law and order. The second reason for the positioning of physical force as the foundation of social order is that eventually force is an indispensable requirement for upholding the law. Since force can cause wrong to prevail over right, thus the need to replace it as the warden of law and order with morality and spirituality. Now, it doesn't require a degree in biology to see that the male of the species excels at brute force. And this is why and how men came to be the dominant figures in human societies. It is an animalistic, biological, and instinctive imperative for the establishment of social order during the early stages of our social evolution. As a society evolves spiritually and discovers higher faculties in the brain and the spirit and realizes that the only superiority that man has over woman is in the realm of brute force, it introduces measures to gradually and voluntarily move away from male domination to shared power. For a spirit and a brain are terrible things to waste. A man said this. He wrote the Medunetter series, right? So brute force, your basic animalistic nature. Most of y'all aren't operating in the spiritual realm, because if you were, you would be able to, even if you didn't agree with what I'm saying, if you can look at the male-female dichotomy and see that it's broken, and it is, you can't humble yourself and be quiet for a minute and maybe learn something? You don't know how to listen to women. You don't know how to learn from women. You don't know how to relate to women. You don't respect to women. What's left? Men, I don't know. What's happening? If you don't have a woman in your life, whether it's your mother, your grandmother, an auntie, the woman at the cafeteria at your school, a wife, a girlfriend, your next door neighbor, if you don't have a righteous, upstanding woman with a mind of her own to help counsel you and guide you, I can assure you that you are not in alignment with your male-female dichotomy. I can assure you that you're not living to your highest and best potential. I don't need to know you. And it's not a reflection of the lack of women thereof. It's a reflection of you. I'm not in a relationship, but I can assure you I can pick up my phone and I have men that I can reach out to and get counseling and guidance and wisdom from. For a fact. Things that I won't even ask women because I need a masculine perspective. I want male guidance. I want male perspective. King, not male. I'm past that. You got to be a king to counsel me. This is just a fact. So for all of the people that are sitting around and talking about what all black women are doing, like, what about your mother? What about your grandmother? Who said he was promoting rape, David? What are you talking about? Let me let you respond before I what? Who said he was promoting rape? Do tell. I'll give you a second. Type quickly, please. Did anybody say that? In the comments. Maybe. Let's make sure we're all on the same page. Who said he was promoting rape? Before you go back and take a snippet of my video and send it off to the cavalry. Who said Kevin Samuels was promoting rape? No? No answer? Okay. On the next page, I defined his daughter said he was mentally and emotionally available with her. I don't, but that's not what I said, David. What you're hearing and what I said, this is what I'm saying. Y'all say women are emotional. Women don't deal in logic. Women don't deal in, I deal in logic and reasoning with my heart on my sleeve because I am a woman. So don't tell me what it sounds like I said, because I just read a passage from a man. We talking about brute force? This was a quote. Did you miss that part? This was a quote from a man. I didn't say it, I read his quote. Now, these are my words on the next page. Emotional abuse. Emotional abuse is a way to control another person by using emotions to criticize, embarrass, shame, blame, or otherwise manipulate another person. In general, a relationship is emotionally abusive when there is a consistent pattern of abusive words and bullying behaviors that wear down a person's self-esteem and undermine their mental health. The underlying goal of emotional abuse is to control the victim by discredit, isolating, and silencing. You look up brute force and you tell us. You asking all the questions, but you ain't bringing no answers. You tell us what is brute force. If a man grabs a woman by her neck and throws her up against the wall, is that brute force? If he grabs her by her arm and slings her around the room, is that brute force? There's like 1,000 things that fit under brute force that don't have anything to do with rape. We can block David, but David is important. David is representing the Calgary. This is all the shit that they're going to go huddle in a corner after the video and talk about. Cognitive dissonance, man. This is kindergarten. We got a lot of shit that we need to be focusing on. If we can't even sit down and have a conversation, I just read a quote and you done derailed the conversation. Yeah, David is important. David represents the Calgary. He's a frequency to me, not a person. He's a frequency. The reason why we having this conversation in the first place. So, emotional abuse, embarrassing, shaming, blaming, and manipulating another person. Wearing down a person's self-esteem and undermining their mental health. Yes, women emotionally abuse men all the time. I talk about it all the time. I watched a video. I think it was one of these. I had to put myself in the fire to even find these videos. But This whole video talking about, oh, I'm going to play it. Matter of fact, speaking of brute force, you right on time. Look at your timing. Look at you. Doing Satan's work. So in the video, a whole bunch of males sitting around and talking about slapping women up, right? But let me get back to my original point before I get into that, because I'll let the video speak for itself. Embarrassing, shaming, blaming, and manipulating another person, wearing down a person's self-esteem and undermining their mental health. If you can't look at the trajectory of this man's work in his videos and see that that's what he was doing, never mind the fools who called in and embarrassed themselves. Yeah, they get they honorable mention. But you said you were superior. Or you imply it. If I see one more comment about women obeying, and what was the other word? Obeying, and it's in my text message. I don't want to mess it up. I know what happened with the sound too, you guys. I'm going to fix that. Let's be clear. I'm going to read this meme. Let's be clear. Submission is easy when you have a real man in your corner. Only a weak man not leading correctly has to beg for obedience. Obedience? Who the... What? It's obedience. Y'all training puppies? You at the circus training lions? Elephants? Obedience? I'd be single forever. Obey me. Man, listen. That shit funny to me. But kings don't talk like that. Men who are trying to project strength and power do. But back to my point. A broke clock is right twice a day. The basic tenements of emotional abuse, or any woman that's been in an abusive relationship, and I've worked with clients. Listen, I'm 43 years young. I have experienced life. I grew up in East Oakland, California. I've seen women that I don't even know get beat up in front of my eyes as a child. You mean to tell me you've never seen a woman be physically abused? Why aren't you talking about that, David? Why are you trying to talk about everything but the big ass elephant in the room? Do you agree? Physical abuse doesn't exist for women? Men don't emotionally abuse women? Y'all want to talk about everything but the real shit. And we ain't doing that on my channel. So you fools call in because you're in alignment with his frequency. It makes sense that the deaf, dumb, and blind will be calling the deaf, dumb, and blind to get guidance on relationships and love. Respectfully. This man is dragging these women, fat shaming. I mean, the way he talked about overweight women, what this is shit that teenagers do. This your man, B? This your man's right here? Sitting around laughing and talking about over women and mocking them for their weight? Who does that? So the emotional abuse that this man was perpetrating on his channel, yeah, we take into account the women that called in for it, but that doesn't excuse the behavior. Why are you guys so afraid to hold men accountable? I'm not just talking to men. I'm talking to men and women. Y'all so thirsty to see a man that has charm and knowledge and a platform and, you know what I'm saying, that can smile and say it to you. You accepting 60% and ignoring the other 40% of bullshit. I would have never been able to listen to somebody that talked about men the way that this man talked about women. I would never sit up and listen to half of these nitwits online talking about divesting from black men and get you a white man or get you a Chinese man. What would I look like sitting back and listening to some shit like that and then turning around and talking about this as wisdom? Y'all, listen, y'all don't read enough. If y'all think that shit was deep, you need to read more. Get off the internet. Turn off YouTube. Throw the phone away. Mean-spirited, vitriolic. Matter of fact, let's let him speak for himself. But I told the passage that he said he's never known about women being physically abused. He's never known about men being physically. Oh, this was the point I was making. The podcast I was watching, and they all sitting around talking about women yelling. Women get in your face and she start yelling and pointing her fingers, and the tongue is a weapon, and da 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 da. Why are you with this woman? Why are you subjecting yourself to this abuse? Leave. Get therapy. Get help. I don't recommend men staying in relationships with psychotic women. That's insane. So, but let's show the clip. I know what I did with the sound now. I think I got it fixed. So let's do this. Let's let the man speak for itself. Testing, testing. Okay. I think I did something with my my audio. You should be able to hear me now, right? Okay. So I'm gonna play it on my phone. I this when I use this system, what I do is usually I just go straight through Zoom. So I haven't used this system in a while, but it's okay. I'm just gonna play the video and I'm gonna show you guys the actual page that the video came from. But I'm gonna play it on my phone. Just text me in the chat room and let me know that you guys can hear it, and we'll just do it that way. It's all good. Is it's only showing sound when it shows me, so that's fine. You guys can look at me and listen to him. To disrespect Tell me if you can hear it now.
Yeah, I'm using it a couple of ways and tied into something I heard earlier. If we can't hold anybody accountable that we are directly tied to, we can't have a community. You used to get a whooping by Mr. Brown if Mr. Brown saw you doing something wrong because you were accountable to the community, not just your mama and daddy. I'm gonna leave that sitting right there. The women today don't fear what Sean Connery told Barbara Walters. There are times when the best course of action is to slap a woman. That's what Sean Connery said. It's still on YouTube right now. Go look at it. And Barbara Walters was like, thought he was going to recant his statement, and he doubled down. He said, let me explain what I mean. He's like, women have a way of not knowing how to let things go. You can give up the argument. You can let it go. They can know they've won. There's nothing else to be gained, and they will continue to push and push and push. And he said, at that point, once you've exhausted all other options, then a slap becomes a good option. And you only have to do it once. ZaZaAli tried to say that stuff, and it set the black community on fire. Why is this? Because between the men on this platform right now, if we were in public, we have to moderate what we say, whether we know each other or not, because there's a low-level threat of violence and aggression between all men. Fuck YouTube, fuck degrees, fuck money. You cross a certain line with a man, we're going to have to shoot the fair one. We know that. You could be in a wheelchair, you could be on a crutch, you could whatever. You can be special. You got to do that. But see, there is no low-level threat of violence between women and men today. Women are allowed to be verbally disrespectful beyond the point of reason because there's no consequence, because they don't fear the repercussion. So listening to that, and this is why anybody familiar with the concept of domestic discipline? No. Domestic discipline, in a nutshell, is me and Courtney are married, and Courtney and I are vibing, but Courtney knows that she can get on one sometimes. And we sit down and say, when you get on one, And after we go through the process, and I use the safe word, banana split, and you still stay on one after I say banana split. You heard me say banana split. I acknowledge you heard me say banana split, and you stay on one. Well, then it's time for the domestic discipline. And it is exactly what it sounds like. Lay across the knee and on the ass. Thank you. I am not kidding. I am not kidding. And what I will do is I will put the links to the women who teach this stuff. And this has been talked about in sectors of the manosphere. It's adult correction. And
I've never heard of that before in my entire life.
I hadn't heard of it till I got here on YouTube, but I'd heard of the concept, but I didn't hear it that way. And the thing is, it doesn't, and it's nonviolent. And here's the point. Can you imagine being a grown woman and you got to hear banana split, and you know you should have stopped and you kept on going, and then you gotta, and you volunteer, and the woman has to volunteer for this. She volunteers to do this. It's not coerced, and it doesn't rise to the point of respect. Lay down, get the paddle out. All right, now, Courtney, you know, banana split, and you.
I'm having Tanya Parker. Can you please? I'm reading your comments. I really want to understand. So, Tanya Parker, do me a favor and clarify what your position is and what it is that you're trying to say, because I'm lost. For me, David, is that brute force? Everybody who's been bigging this man up and promoting this man and talking about he's a prophet and you carrying on his legacy, so you carrying on this legacy too. And I don't give a damn what woman said it. There's women in Africa circumcising girls' clitorises right now. So the fact that a woman said it doesn't mean shit to me. Those women can move around. Stay away from me and stay away from my son. And stay away from all of the young women who I mentor and guide and help and am counseling and advising. That's enemy language. So you tell me, I need clarity. I'm looking at the comments right now. Who's condoning this? All of the people that have been, martyring this man. Is this your final position on men putting their hands on women? Because I'm not going to ever co-sign a woman putting her hands on man. Move around on a man. Move around. It's too many men around in the world for you to have to be in a relationship fighting with one. And I know you guys think there's a shortage on men because you operate in lack-based consciousness. But the planet is 196,940 square thousand miles. I can assure you there is a good man somewhere on this planet that will help you become your highest and best self without you having to have a fucking safe word or put his hands on you. So, Tanya, let's get clarity. I never heard that. I never heard this man until today. I don't condone hitting any woman. Okay, so then we have an understanding. You said you were adamant about Kevin Samuel, me saying Kevin Samuels was promoting rape. I don't know why. If you've never heard him before, why would you even be invested like that? Particularly because no one said anything about rape. Slapping a woman, is that considered brute force? Let's ask that. Everybody's showing themselves. This type of stuff to me is basic 101. This is not even like a difficult, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? Domestic discipline? This is your hero? Adult correction? You attracted a loudmouth, vindictive, manipulative woman. You attracted her because you guys are in alignment in some capacity. And instead of you having the self-love and the courage and the conviction to leave, you want to tell men to slap women because Sean Connery said it. A devil. This is insane. And the fact that our community is so up in arms about that he never disrespected black women. Really? Just say you don't like women and get it over with. Just say you prefer men, fellas. Let's play the next one. Y'all love condoning sucker shit. You don't ever want to confront what the real situation. So the guy asked me, have you seen all of his videos? Have you seen that one? Thornton, where you at? You still in the building? Are you still in the building? There he is. Yes, I've seen this video before. I also heard of couples agreeing to do this. I don't agree with it. I don't want anyone hitting me, so I would be all right with hitting. But I'm saying, do you think that this is an appropriate message for a man with a platform that's supposed to be guiding black men and black women in whatever capacity? Should this ever be said in our culture? I don't care about what the couples are doing. They're not online teaching people about how to be in relationships. Do you condone this message? We like to talk about everything but the shit that need to be talked about, boy. Woo. Let's play the next one. This one I found extremely funny. Okay, well, thank you. Now we're getting somewhere. That's all I want to know. You saw this video and you still listen to him? I don't know. That's suspect to me. But let me fall back with the judgment, because we all learning and growing at different paces. For me, if I hear a man or a woman say something like that, you'll never get my view again. I'll never send anyone your way. I'll never promote anything you do. You're not a part of my reality. I don't condone women hitting men, and I don't condone men hitting women. So the fact that you ever said that shit out of your mouth means that you are an enemy to women, and I will never, ever, ever, ever listen to that shit again. That's the problem. We don't have men holding men accountable, because this type of stuff is acceptable to a lot of y'all. Let's be careful with the language. Danny, I know, I feel you, trust me. But, we want to have a respectful dialogue, right? So at least he's here, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the comrades have already skipped town. They're already gone, right? At least he's here. You know what I'm saying? Listening. I can respect that. So let's listen to this one. This was the one that I really found interesting. The name of the video is, if you're unmarried at 35, you're a leftover woman.
Men know that there's something likely wrong with you. Whether you want to hear it or not, I'm going to just go there with you. I'm telling you the truth that you don't want to hear. Men know that there's something likely wrong with you, but you cannot be fit in an adjustable 6 or higher, 35, unmarried. Something wrong with you. That's where men automatically coming at it. And here's the thing. Just like when you were between the ages of 18 and 25 and you didn't want to settle, you were trying to get the CEO, the pilot, the investment banker, you were trying to get flued out. Here's what's going to happen. If you are a woman 35 plus and you want a man that's on the same lifestyle level, you're going to have to share it. All right, what do you think about sharing a man? Come on now, don't go quiet on me now. Don't get quiet on me.
I'm okay with that, because if they're gonna mess around with other females, I'm gonna do what I want to do too.
No, that's not how that works.
Okay.
That's not how that works. You share a man and sit your ass down.
I mean, this is your guru. Share a man and sit your ass down. Is this? Oh, my brain cells are dilapidating as time is passing by. I'm dying a little bit every time I listen to this shit. My head is starting to hurt. I don't know what to do. Okay, one more. There's something wrong with you if you are 35 years or up. What if she has been, much love, Sacred Storm, I appreciate you. What if she has a divine mission to help people? What if she's been through trauma in her life and she's intentionally being single? You know, the loudmouth ones that you say are disrespectful and, dysfunctional and all of that. Those women need to be alone, don't they? Or should she be running and jumping on the next Tom, Dick, and Harry? Shouldn't she be alone to work through her problems? Should she seek therapy? What about your mother? Is she over 35 and single? Not him. You. The men who are listening to this. I watched a clip of the one with him and Nicki Minaj yesterday. It wasn't nothing really. She didn't even really. She had an opportunity to say something powerful and important, and she didn't. So I thought she was gonna go there. I was rooting for her, but then she slid into some other shit. So I was not impressed by that conversation at all. Let's listen to this last one, which I think this one is the one that really just was mind-blowing to me. It's called Kevin Samuels Hits New Low, Children Lie, right? So let's listen to this. This is the last one. This video is 6 minutes, but I'm only going to play like a 4-minute clip of it. So just bear. And women, if you've been through, sexual abuse and trauma, even men, if you've been through sexual abuse and trauma, this might be a little triggering. But, we're in a different, the word shouldn't sting as much now. That's a nice way for me to say it.
How do you think you can make your asset how do you think you can make your child an asset to the kind of man you want to marry?
How can I make my child an asset?
To the kind of man you would want to marry?
I feel like I would have to train her to be an asset, as in get her ready for life in general. Put her in classes, make sure she's smart, make sure she's not, put in that time to make her a better person. Correct? Am I right?
No, the question is how to make your child an asset to that man.
How do you make your child an asset to your man?
How can your daughter, and this is a question all women are going to have to answer for themselves. How are my children benefiting you as my husband?
I never thought about that.
Well, and that's the problem.
What would you suggest? I'm just wondering because
I would say it's going to be extremely difficult. But what I would suggest is women who actually think about it from the man's side, understanding that my child today is a liability because it costs. So number one, is she well-mannered, well-behaved, smart, taken care of? Does she understand, and do I really believe that you're going to come second to my husband? Is my husband going to come first? Or is it we're a package deal? If you're a package deal, that's no deal. I'll be honest, it's a package deal, that's no deal.
It's your hero, huh?
Let's say you and I were to get married, you got a daughter, right? Let's say we have 2 kids together. And your child is 5. So 10 years from now, your daughter comes home and said, Kevin looked at me getting out of the shower. What happens next?
The relationship would have to end.
Huh?
That's not something the relationship would end immediately.
Because your daughter said I looked at her getting out of the shower. Kevin looked at me getting out of the shower. Kevin looked at me getting out of the shower. So that means I should never listen to it. That means I should avoid women like you because off the rip, your desire to defend your child blew up. You got 2 of my kids. And off rip, your protective instinct says everything, including those other 2 kids. Do you?
No,
You said the relationship would have to end. So what would you tell our 2 children?
That's a tough situation.
No, you said the relationship would have to end. So
It would have to end because
what
I
would
would
you tell
tell any of my kids. If I had 3 kids, 1 by someone else and 2 by my.
Well, what I'm telling you, what I'm saying is what we tell our 2 children.
It comes to a situation and we have to part ways.
You get the fuck out. You can get the fuck out.
Because I'm not the one paying the bill.
No, because you're not taking my kids. Mm-hmm. See, that's what I mean. Y'all act like y'all got too much power.
It's not power.
First of all, you didn't even. 1st off,
Hold on. Get Floyd X. Get the fuck out of my chat room. Get the fuck out of my chat room. We're literally listening to this man talking about condone. This is what I'm saying. Please leave. I don't even know why you're here. How did you stumble onto this message? Hi, user on. How do I get this person out of here? The fuck out of here. Actually listening to this and that's your comment? Don't play with me. I've heard enough. Listen. The fact that he automatically went to a shower scene is a problem. When I work with my clients, thank you very much. And anybody else who agrees with that, and anybody else who still co-signs that shit, and anybody else who is still trying to uplift or to co-sign this, after you just heard what he said, you're an enemy to all women. Get the fuck off my platform. And don't ever come back. Unfollow me, unsubscribe, block me, email me and tell me what your account information is and I'll block you myself. I'll save you the trouble. He said, how is your child going to be an asset to your husband? A car is an asset. A house is an asset. A bank account is an asset. Money is an asset. You don't treat human beings, particularly children. How is your child going to be an asset to the man? Chris Walkers, you get the fuck off my page too. Don't tell me what to do. Now, thank you very much. Don't tell me how to talk. Don't tell me how to express myself. I don't know who y'all think y'all be talking to. If I want to cuss, I'm going to cuss. God damn it. The fuck out of here. And I make no apologies for it. Weak men trigger me. Welcome to the program. You actually spent your time commenting on what I said and didn't address the issue at hand. That's the problem right there. Why would he immediately go to a shower scene? Why would it immediately go into a negative vibration? How about a man marries a child and that child becomes an asset by opening and expanding the heart, by making you love yourself, by making you evolve, by making you grow, by making you learn how to love and to honor and to sacrifice another human being. Children are not trinkets. They're not burdens. Why does our culture treat our children like burdens? Why is this acceptable? Why do you guys accept this type of conversation and language and treatment of single women? Why are single women demoralized and demeaned in our culture? Who is that? Mob D? A single parent raising a kid. Now that's a bid. No, a single parent, man or woman, that life is already difficult enough. We don't need the whole culture jumping on the bandwagon and dragging these women down. It's the most difficult thing to do if it's two people or one person actually raising a child and sacrificing a life. Why do we allow people to talk about our children like that? Why do we allow people to disrespect our children like that? This is why gun violence in Chicago is what it is. We as a culture do not care about our children. And speaking of, T.I., with his, I put up a post that's of Kevin in Heaven, a meme of Kevin in Heaven, referencing something about fat chicks, like still joking about it. And it said, rest in power, King. But T.I. got a trail of tears from hood rats and skeezers and sluts, proud sluts, obviously. We don't want to slut shame. We know you're proud. We honor you in your fuckery. He got all kind of scallywags. That's what we used to call them. Scallywags in his closet. He didn't even pick upper echelon women. They picked women that would pop pills and go and turn up. The lowest of the low. Talk about low hanging fruit. And you think you downloading your DNA through your sweat and through your body transference, your energetic transference, you downloading your shit into all these random women that's coked up and high, and then parading yourself around talking about you a king and they consented. I tell men all the time, I've worked with men. I work with men that have problems with controlling themselves and being disciplined sexually. Honor yourself. Consider your body sacred. You don't value yourself if you just laying down with any random thought. I don't care if you're horny. I don't care if you got a heart on. I was having this conversation with my son, and Drake has a line in one of his songs. I may have even said this in one of my videos before, where he's talking about he takes the condom off after he finishes having sex and puts hot sauce in it to make sure that the girl can't take the condom and take his sperm and make her impregnate herself. You really laying down with those type of females, bro? You giving your body to a woman that could potentially be that manipulative, that grimy, that scandalous, to bring a child into this world for child support? Don't you think higher? You should think higher of yourself. And of course, my son, I seem like, oh, mom, he's from his little 18-year-old perspective. One day it'll ring true. I just plant the seeds and, water it. Send random text messages. Watch yourself. Be careful with how you dealing with these females out here. He'll be like, Mom, why you say that? Because I'm just paying attention. They loose out here. Your body is sacred. You are sacred. So a lot of these women need to be friends. A lot of these women need guidance, and they need male energy that doesn't need to be sexual. A lot of y'all need to learn how to develop relationships with women that are not based in a sexual capacity. A child, how is your child going to be an asset to you? A man better not ever say no shit like that to me, not in my face. Look at how our culture disrespects our children. If it's a package deal, it's no deal. Then move around. I'm the asset here, not you. We have a misunderstanding. The value that I bring to the table as a woman, and I'm not saying he was talking to me, I'm saying this is the posture that women should be taking. I'm the asset. There's 1,000 yous, there's only one of me. And men should feel like that too. You should be honoring yourself. You got king potential when you mating with a concubine. Are you going to reproduce a concubine or a king? I don't know. Jury's still out. We need to be way more selective in how and it's the funny thing that there's so much judgment about women and the men that they chose. Oh, you had a baby by a thug. Oh, you got 2 or 3 baby mamas, right? All of that shit. But then in the next breath, if you're 35 or older and you're not in a relationship, you're not married, you're useless. I thought I needed to be alone. I thought I needed to be a little bit more disciplined with how I was carrying myself and giving my body away. That was my initial impression. Now you're saying you got to share? What? This is your king? This is your leader? This is your prophet? This is your guru? And I joke, hoes need a guru too. So, and I use that word hoes only because I don't have a better, more appropriate word, and it lets everybody know exactly what I'm talking about. Grade C men need a guru too. And the grade C is being nice. Because if you listen to that shit, if you supported that man before you heard me, and you still support him after you heard that, let the ancestors and the ethers and the universe and all of the great goddesses and priestesses and empresses and powerful, powerful women of today and tomorrow and yesterday light fire up under your ass. All of y'all. Females too. if you a package deal, no deal. Look at how we treat, and I've been saying this, and I think I talked about this in Plagues of Dysfunction, if I remember correctly. The negative, what we don't realize as a culture, the negative connotation of single mothers is not just a negative projection on her. The child is going to embody that shit. So while we so busy blaming black women for producing, being in single parent households, and they're responsible for all of the, the gangbangers and all, because it's all women's fault, of course, when it all boils down to it. But all that negativity that you think is you're just projecting on that woman, you're projecting that on those children. So for all we know, all of the lack of love, the lack of community, the lack of a village. Y'all love to talk about it takes a village because it's an African proverb. Just saying shit just to be saying it. You projecting all that negativity on these children. How many gangbangers has that produced? Because I deal in the spiritual realm. I'm dealing in the power of mind and thought and heart and frequency. How many gangbangers has your lack of love and respect and empathy and compassion for these children in these inner cities created? How many future non-existent baby daddies has your co-signing this type of bullshit given a green light to? Because I don't see no man, or I shouldn't say that. I'm not going to say that because I don't listen to a lot of the shit that's online. Just to be honest, I will say there's a brother named Jason Williams on Instagram. And of course, Nuri Muhammad is one of my favorite. I love him to death. And there is a page. What's the name of that page? Those two men in particular. There's another page. I'm going to try to remember it. If you want to listen to balanced, righteous, masculine energy without all of the, we hate women on Thursdays. Monday through Saturday, I love women, but on Sundays, we gonna chop these hoes up, bros over hoes, that type of weird psychological gay shit that's happening on the airwaves. If you want to have some sound, righteous, balanced perspective, listen to those brothers. Stop listening to anything and anyone that's not operating from a love frequency. One thing I know for sure, this platform was not emulating a love frequency. It was about shaming and blaming and mocking and disrespecting and devaluing women. And everybody who co-signed it and everybody who watches it and everybody who continues to co-sign it, that's your name. That's your number. That's what you represent. That's your frequency. Just submit to shit and put a banner on your, you know what I'm saying? On your jacket. Wear it proud. I don't like women. I love Kevin Samuels. I prefer bros over hoes. I love Kevin Samuels. I secretly think that women are superior to men, and I hate them for it. You don't have to tell me. I know that's a part of the play. You don't have to say it out loud. I can see y'all coming from a mile away. Men spending all their time talk. Can you imagine if I had a platform and every video that I put up was talking of demoralizing and demeaning men? I'd have 1 million followers, sure. Easily. Probably sell more books too. Nobody wants to buy books about self-accountability. Nobody wants to listen to someone that's always talking about stop pointing the finger and stop blaming other people and focusing on yourself. That's the only war there really is. That's why white people are in the grand positions of power that they're in, because we're not willing to look in the mirror and do the real work. So, I think I've made my point. I had a list of things that I think that, rhetorically, I was going to read this list off were places where I think men, since we have so much time to be sitting around focusing on women. In my book, Plagues of Dysfunction, there's a gentleman wrote an article in the Chicago Times in the early 2000s. And he said that when he went back and did the numbers and the statistics on all of the black men who had died by homicide in Chicago, that the number was more than 400,000. And that was in the early 2000s. So we have black men killing each other all over the country. What black men's podcast or YouTube channel or platform is specifically dedicated to helping clean those brothers up? I don't know of one. I know there's street soldiers in the community that are doing their part. I'm here in LA. There's street soldiers here in the middle of all of this chaos and madness. There are brothers that are doing their part. But to have full-fledged platforms where all you talk about is women, bro, do you like men? I don't know what's happening here. Because I understand that self-preservation is the first law of nature. I've been holding women accountable, first of all, myself. 400,000 seems high, but think about it, Calhoun. There's been time frames, I know for a fact, where there's been 600 or 700 murders in Chicago. That's a fact. Actually, higher than that. I did the whole breakdown of this. I don't want to get sidetracked, right? But if the number's 400,000 or if the number's 40,000, is that high? Because 40,000 is definitely, actually, I'm sorry, not in Chicago, America. 400,000 dead black men, dead by the hands of gun violence in the early 2000s in America. That number doesn't sound so high when we talk about the whole country, right? Because Chicago is just one city out of what? 100? But the bottom line is, have we made any substantial movement towards stopping it? No. Should the women be out on the block doing it? I don't know. Is that what you're saying? Because yesterday meant she'll still sharp and still. Is this our responsibility too? Because we had them? Yeah, you had them. It's your problem. So where's the single mother? There's a man somewhere in the world that's not taking care of his children. Who's holding him accountable? He got cousins and uncles and grandfathers and men in his life that aren't holding him accountable. What I said in the last video, when I talked about, there's this picture. I wanted to put the picture up, but I'm just gonna stay on point. You guys have seen that meme where the black man is sitting on the ground and he's bleeding from his back and he's got 100 arrows in his back, right? And it's basically like a cartoonish kind of image of, all of the pain and the struggle and the suffering that black men have had to endure, right? So he's like, got all the arrows in his back and he's bleeding and he's hunched over. And it's an image that's showing the suffering and the tragedy that men have been through. And basically like, who's going to cry for me, right? But here's the thing, because, my heart bleeds for black men. I've been on my job for 13 years. So that shit y'all talking doesn't apply to me. I've been on my square. And I've been speaking up for black men continuously, but also hold black men accountable in constructive criticism. But my point is, this image, right, of this brother with these daggers in his back, and he's like, who's looking out for me? Who's gonna protect me? But this is the thing. You're wanting support, you're wanting compassion, you're wanting women to hear your cry. You're wanting men to hear your cry. You're wanting the world to see your suffering and look at you through the eyes of more than just the thug projection, or he's either an athlete or a rapper. All that negative connotation, right? But women have been enduring that, and dare I say more, for hundreds of years. And there has not been one collective movement by men anywhere on the planet in order to cover down on women and protect women and to change the trajectory of the male-female dichotomy. This is why you're not getting compassion and empathy from women in our culture, because you've been ignoring what's been going on in our communities for too long. I.e., I've never heard of a woman being domestically abused. I've never seen a woman get physically abused. Men don't abuse women, emotionally abuse women. They got classes, and there's 1,000 books on emotional abuse and testimonies and trials and studies. And, well, the white man did that. Have we put any together? No, because we're not concerned about emotional well-being. We're not concerned about healthy, righteous, upstanding, well-rounded women and coming to their aid in their suffering and in their pain that has lasted for hundreds of years, that is continuing to this day, and now you're supporting people that are continuously projecting the negativity. Where's the empathy and the compassion? Where's the love? I don't represent none of that shit y'all be talking about in terms of welfare mamas and, weave queens and lace fronts and, single mama, baby daddy drama and, disrespecting men and loud talking. And I don't represent none of that shit. And I still got to deal with disrespect because you don't want to hold yourself accountable. We've produced a culture and a climate of weak men and weak women. Neither is greater than the other. But the difference is, actually, there's not a difference. There's a category of women online bashing men, and there's a category of men online bashing women. And all of y'all are aligned. You think it's them over there, those women over there. No, that's your frequency. That's you turned inside out. She's a reflection of you. He's a reflection of you. Go mate. Move to another planet and reproduce yourselves. Not here, though. So I'm going to end with this. And I've talked for way longer than I intended to, but I always do. Thank you guys. I see the numbers it's been basically the same amount of people watching the whole time, up and down a little bit. But all of you guys that have really listened to me, I really, really, really appreciate it. I've been talking about this war that's happening, right? Which is spiritual warfare. And we know it's spiritual warfare because look at the chaos. Look at the minds and the hearts of the people. We built the white man's world and, we built it. There's another video clip of him he's talking to a woman and talking about women being in construction. Are women in building construction industries? Can women do engineering? Can women do this? He's like badgering this woman. He's like, no, because men are the stronger ones and men are this and men are that. And she's like, no, we don't support women doing those type of jobs. And he's basically making it a thing about strength, right? Which is ignorant in itself, because anybody that knows anything about building understands that once you get to the labor part, it's downhill from there. The planning stages and the surveying of the land and the cultivating of the land and the architectural blueprints and the engineering, there's a lot of mind science that goes into building. So what the hell are you talking about? Women can't be builders. I beg your pardon. Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate you. Why are you spending all your time talking about what women can't do anyway? But that's not the point. The spiritual war is the higher and the lower self expressing itself and duking it out in the physical realm. So we have black versus white. That is a subset of that war. We have higher self versus lower self. That is a subset of that war. We have the masculine, feminine dichotomy and the male-female dichotomy. All of these things are God in the physical realm expanding itself and experiencing itself and realizing itself to perfect the wobble in the nature, right? The original wobble in the nature. Brown germ versus black germ, right? Appreciate you, Rajet, for the cash app. These different dichotomies of these two aspects of the creator in the physical realm, right? Women are the emoters of the planet. Women are the heart of the planet. I feel deeply for the earth. I feel deeply for your children. Even as you are co-signing all of this bullshit. And this is why I said I'm not doing no videos, because after I finish this, when this video ends, I'm off this and back onto the things that are really important to me, which is working to build a world for my son where he's not subjugated to this bullshit or somebody trying to turn him into a robot. Yes, they are trying to create a new species of people. Yes, or not people, beings. Yes, they've already developed the technology. Yes, they've already been implementing the technology. Yes, Elon Musk and his Neuralink is a part of the process. So for all of you fans of Elon Musk, please understand that he is another one of Satan's minions. Right? But as the emoters of the planet, the spiritual war, the male-female dichotomy has to come back into balance. Men, you have to become balanced within yourself in terms of your masculine and feminine attributes. We know a man is not balanced in his masculine and feminine attributes when he's sitting around disrespecting and talking about women all day. It's a clear sign. We know that a woman is not balanced in her masculine and feminine attributes if she's out in the world talking at independent woman, F these, dudes, and, all this weirdo Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, promoting whole culture and prostitution and, all of the weird stuff that's become so in vogue in our culture, right? A woman who is embracing that type of mentality is not in alignment with her masculine and feminine element, right? But moving forward, you're going to have to be balanced in order to continue to, in order to excel, in order to expand. We're moving into a different time dispensation. I told you guys at the beginning of the video that they're basically trying to make a move now where all national and global governments become null and void. I know that doesn't interest us. There might be one or two people that watch this video that's curious and reach out to me for more information, or that actually are concerned, or that actually look into it. What we're talking about is such a microcosm on the grand scale of things, but it's important because this is a variation of the larger war that's taking place. God, the creator, source energy, is not going to allow the continuation of the degradation and objectification and abuse of women to carry on by women or men. So your time might be up. Your time is up, not might be. Male and female. So balance is critical. This is why the spiritual aspect is the war on the women and the emoters of the planet. And then the physical aspect is the war on the heart. And if you don't know about the war on the heart, isn't that what we're talking about? Didn't this gentleman supposedly die from an attack? Did he take the needle? I don't know. But there's some serious shit going on. There's danger lurking around every corner. We're in some very turbulent, trying times right now. And if you are not striving to be in alignment with your highest and best self, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, then it's going to be difficult for you. I didn't see anything that promoted that type of internal awareness and personal power on that platform. I saw projecting you need money on men, the way you look on men. Is very detrimental. The world that men have built is very detrimental to men. Testosterone levels are low. Sperm levels are low. Y'all walking around with cell phones in your pocket talking about Viva la Kevin. Sperm just getting decimated by the minute. Eating Popeye's chicken and still eating pork. Get your shit together. I just, go where the love is. Go where the frequency is high. Listen to things that make you feel good about you, that project and that emphasize your personal power and don't have you sitting around pointing fingers at women you don't even know. I hate women. ZaZaAli.com is my website. What's going to happen is I'm going to end this and then I'm going to be like, damn, I forgot to say so many things, but it's fine. ZaZaAli.com is my website. info@ZaZaAli is my email address if you want to work with me or get information about anything else that I have coming up. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much for your attention. Yes, heart disease is another ramification, a physical reflection of what's happening internally, emotionally, and mentally and spiritually. It manifests in the body. ZaZaAli.com is my website. Thank you to my admin. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you guys for holding me down when I had to get gully, because we sucker free 2022 and beyond. Peace and love, y'all.